So now what I'd like to do is ask Lainey, Max, and Jason just to say absolutely whatever you want to get us into a conversation about my life in that order. Lainey, Max, Jason. Starting with Lainey, please.
So this is a life-changing book for generations of poets, including myself. Completely changed the possibility of how one might write through a life under the happy influence of Gertrude Stein.
Yes, Stein was so important to Lyn, and that's made clear in the essays, very much so. Thank you, Lainey. That was fabulous and succinct. Max, and then Jason, any thoughts at all on my life?
Well, we talk about it sometimes in the context of the new sentence and juxtaposition, and it does, really elegantly serve as a model for this aesthetic, this poetics of juxtaposition, of putting different pieces together that on their own make sense, and then trying to let a third meaning emerge.
Yes, a third meaning you have a sentence and another sentence, but the juxtaposition creates a connection that you didn't expect between those two. And then, of course, it permutates, and you get hundreds and maybe even thousands of these connections that weren't meant, right? So it connects to week 9, but it also connects back to the simplest things like the station of the metro, where you get this juxtaposition and it creates all kinds of new things you didn't know. Fantastic. Jason, thought on my life?
Yeah, I was I know it's kind of a counter to the spirit of the piece, but I was kind of fixating when I was reading it on just particular moments. And I guess one thing I was really interested in and thinking about all these poems this week is about not only what they're doing with disjunction, but that they are dealing with time. They're all messing with time in certain ways, or any sort of or they're messing with conventional time. So the quote I pulled from it was uneven and internal, asymmetrical but additive time. A child, meanwhile, had turned her tricycle upside down and was turning the pedal with her hand to make the front wheel spin. The solemn flickering effects, not knowing what you're doing.
Yeah, that's lovely. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play just a half a minute of Lyn performing a section of this poem, and then I want to, would you roll the dice 3 times, and whoever comes up will be asked to comment on what they hear in this performance.
19.
Okay, 19 is going to be, we don't have one.
Okay. 14.
14 will be Kate.
4.
4 will be Max.
Oh, we got 9 again.
Okay, do another one.
2.
2 will be Sophia. So Kate, Max, Sophia. I'm going to play somewhat randomly a few seconds of Lyn Hejinian. Here it goes.
The inevitable sentiment is a preliminary. Water cannot be a mirror, nor any more like a mirror than the skin of the forehead. The day will twinkle, sparkle, shoot forth its single bits. Breathless through tunnels, breathless past graves. Still I had lost the little cluster in which I first saw that yellow spot resembling a blossom or a bee. A troublemaker who walked in the front door. The catsup that no one tastes because of the shape of the bottle. I was thinking of the slippery love seat upholstered in a pattern of roses. Vision determines the view. They are supposed to be offering you a good time, too. She would if she could. As for we who love to be astonished, a weasel eats 20 times as much as a lizard of the same size.
Kate, what did you hear? Any thoughts?
I think it's so incredible how she's both remembering and composing at the same time, that she can hold past and present together and reflect them in the language, which, processes itself as it moves forward.
Yes, beautifully said. Thank you. Max, what'd you hear?
There's a very specific affect in the way that she reads. Like it's not, for example, it's not an ecstatic reading. It's not a particularly, there isn't too much emphasis. There's a sort of equal measured weight given to all the words, all the sentences. And I think that's really part and parcel of this idea of emergent meaning that we were talking about a moment ago. There's this way in which you need to let the language kind of do its work without overly inflecting it with your own performance.
Right. Totally right. And this is part of the idea of this generation of poets, among whom we have Charles, of believing in non-hierarchy of sentences, of, in Lyn's case, subordination is not something she was interested in. There is subordination grammatically in some of the sentences, but all the sentences get an equal chance.
Well, I really appreciate what Max just said. And I think she just has an incredible clarity to her voice, which matches, I think, the project of the piece. And I do feel like when you listen to the recording, it doesn't seem like any sentence is more precious in this collecting of a life and its components. And the performance of that is emblematic of the construction of the language. What stood out to me specifically in this portion of the reading is this sentence, water cannot be a mirror, because I'm thinking of it makes me think of just the broader question of what can a life be and how can I capture its slipperiness, and can a life be constituted out of language, and if so, what language can I choose? And when you go through these sentences that are both complex and simple with this measured tone where every sentence has an equal weight, I feel like it is an amazing attempt at constituting a life that is sometimes simple and sometimes difficult.
And it inspires you as a poet to some degree, looking for respect of every thought and every memory gets equal respect, right?